Okay, good morning. We're up to Siman Reish Samach Vov Seif Tes. So we're talking about a fellow who's traveling, and he's got his money bag and he's got other muksa things, and what to do with these items. So Seif Tes says, Higir lechotzach etzoina hamishtameres. He then is coming to the end of his journey, and he comes to a courtyard which is protected. It's enclosed, it's guarded in some way. So then, he can take from on top of the donkey, he can take those things which are movable. And that which is not, which is tied up, he just has to undo the ties. And then the bags will just automatically fall. And if he's carrying packages which includes glass and things like that, which are muktzah, for example, they're little glass holders where the blood letters use, which have no purpose on Shabbos, because they're disgusting. And those glasses, we're worried that if you were just to release them, they would smash onto the ground and break. You can put some cushions to soften the blow, that they won't break. And dafka small packages that you can sort of move them off afterwards. You can sort of slip away the things. They're not so heavy. If you've got a massive bundle, a massive package going on the cushion, then they're stuck. But if they're fairly small, then you can just move away the cushion. But if the packages are so big that you can't move away the cushion underneath them, then you can't place them under there. You're making a kli dysfunctional, which you're not allowed to do. You're making it no longer usable for that designated function. Therefore, you can just release them, unload the animal gently so that they shouldn't break. And you shouldn't leave them on the animal because of tzar b'alechaim. Zog the Mishnah Bura. Chaf Gimel. Higia lechotze. Higsha Mogen Avram. The Mogen Avram asks, when the animal gets a little bit in front of the chotzer, then ma'ayil rishus rabim yochid. You're going from rishus rabim to yochid, and therefore, how does it all help you? Once the animal stops outside, you've got the problem of going from rishus to rishus. And therefore, the Mogen Avram says that the gabi behemtoi lo yichmiru kol kach. They weren't so machmir with your animal. The Prima Godim is not happy with this answer. V'yesh matarasim, others answer the question. The way to do it is you take the load off the animal whilst the animal is still walking. So there shouldn't be a hanocha, the animal stopping, and therefore there won't be the full component of the Issa Hotzah, and therefore it won't be a Deraisa. You take it off before you enter the Chotzer. And then you don't put it back on until it sort of started moving. Therefore there won't be an Akira. Even though afterwards it does stop in the chotzer, we're not worried about that. The chol davar shebechaverei part avlosa, because anything with a human being which is part avlosa, bechamerei mutar lechatchila. That's a good klal to remember. Anything which is part avlosa is a drabonon. With a human being, with an animal, we'll say it's mutar lechatchila in this scenario. Okay, me'al hachamer. You take it off the donkey. Vafilu says Mishnah Berurah Chaf Daled. So we are halfway through Sif Tes, Reish Samach Vov Sif Tes. Chaf Daled Mishnah Berurah Me'al HaChamar. Vafilu Heim Yosim Tes Vov Soin. Even if they're very big, Shari Mishum Tzar B'Alechaim. We allow you to unload the animal because otherwise it's going to be too much of a burden and it'll be tzar b'alechaim, causing distress for the animal. But if it's a very light load, then you can keep it on the back of the animal. Mu'usim. So these glass bowls which we use for bloodletting are muktzah because they're mu'usim. We know that on Shabbos, if you've got something which is muktzah machmas mius, you are allowed to move it. That's if you can cover over kli over it. But here it's not really possible. But here the problem is that if you release the package, they'll just break. Sheyachol. And we're not worried that it's going to be a bosses ledava also because the muktzah items were not on the cushions ben hashmashos, and therefore it doesn't become a bosses ledava also. Mr. Shem will get the halachas of muktzah, but it's only a problem if they were there on them during ben hashmashos. L'shamton. We're talking about lightish packages that you can just move the cushion still. That you can move them before the kelim break. Before you manage, you're just cushioning the blow, and then you take away the cushions. So in the meantime, they're going to be nonetheless, nonetheless, Chazal allowed it that they should avoid the hefsed by them breaking. They allow you to do this temporary cushioning the blow. Because for Habib Poiskim, the dafka kelim sheyesh hefsed meruba. We're dafka talking about kelim where there's a large loss. B'shvirason avol chatiches uchuches rechaves she'enim kelim, but just pieces of glass she'ein hefsed kol kach b'shvirason, which you're not going to incur too much of a loss on their breakage. They masuyim lehichatech lechatiches katanas, because after all they're there to be broken up into smaller pieces. Veles beirak hefsed mud, and therefore it's only a very small hefsed. Oslan yach karam tachten. You can't put cushions to cushion the blow for these items that are going to fall from the back of the animal, because after all you are being there's a temporary taking them away from their function. You shouldn't even do it for a short time unless it's hefsed meruba. And if you means making these kelim dysfunctional for the entire Shabbos, that's for a hefsed meruba, that's a machleikas. Okay, Yud. So Reish Samach Vav Sif Yud. Chosh chalei b'derech. Interesting case. It gets suddenly Shabbos comes in, and utfilin b'reishay. Yeah, in those days they would wear tefillin all day, and he's got tefillin on his head. He's sitting, in the base medrash, which was always sort of in the fields outside of the busyness of the town, and he realizes it's sunny Shabbos, so he's got a problem. He can't leave them there because it's not a protected area, and he can't carry them. So what does he do? He wears them. He wears the tefillin, and but he sort of just covers them over. They shouldn't be a marasayin. You put them in the nearest house, which is protected. Says the Mishnah Berurah, not that it's dark, but actually it's sunset, that it's shkia has arrived. And therefore, once it's shkia, ben hashmoshes has started, you can't break Shabbos, and therefore you can't carry them now. You can't just leave them there if they've been bizoyin atfilin. The bottom midrash shalem hayu basodeh. They could be stolen. Therefore, Chazal allowed him to wear them back to his house. But you need to cover them over. You can't be walking through the streets wearing tefillin on Shabbos. Okay, Yud Aleph. Now, what if his package, he's actually carrying it? He's got a rucksack, or something like that. So, Rotz tachtov ad tachteho ad beisei. Says the Shulchan Aruch, you know what you should do? You should run. We'll see why. For dafka running, but to walk slowly, you can't be walking through the streets carrying something in a place where there's no eruv. Given the less hekera, because since there's no heka, you're just walking normally, then you might come to do an akira and hanocha, and therefore you've got all the elements of the crime. You've got a full deraisa hitzah, the zimnin koi v'lovadata, because sometimes you'll stop inadvertently, and therefore you've got the hanocha, and therefore you've got a problem. Avul rots, but if Chazal say, yeah, you can do it, you can carry it home, but you've got to run, then is the hekera, that itself, the running itself, is a hek, and it will remind you not to stop. V'chimotin levei, or not to do a hanocha. And then when you get home, what you do then? Make sure you don't stop momentarily, and then you're going to have a problem with Hitzah from a Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Then what you do is you sort of you throw it off you in a shinui way, in a kilachayad way. Dahainu shloka derech zrika, not in the normal way. Kagain mikseif v'lacherav. No,
while you're running.
yeah, it's easier said than done, right? Agreed. you throw it off you sort of from behind, which is a shinui. Yeah, okay. Rotz mitachtov tachteho says the Mishnah Berurah Chavtes the kol kam de le'amad lofash, because so long as you haven't stopped, ein kan akir b'Shabbos. There's no akir, there's no hanocha. V'davka k'she'ein ima ein Yehudi le'v'lo behem v'lo chereshot v'koten. We're talking about a situation, says the Mishnah Berurah, where you haven't got any of the eights we've had previously, namely to give it to a non-Jewish person, or to leave it on the animal, to give it to chereshot v'koten. V'gam b'makom she'ein yochel le'lich pachas me'arbamas, and you can't even do that for whatever reason. K'goyin shemis yorim and listim, you're worried that there are bandits around, she'igos lu, that they'll steal it from you. Sheyesh mayim rochav arba amas, or there's a width of water that you can't pass. The lesser Rav and Gemura efshe deshari b'chol inyan. That is, with us we've got less of a concern because there's no Rosh Hashanah deraisa, and therefore it will be allowed. In 42 he explains that means v'af larutz, says Rosh Shlomo Zalman, is not necessary in a tzarich. That's what it means. So even then to walk if there's no Rosh Hashanah deraisa. The zimnin dekoi, because the concern is you might stand. The imamad says Mishmur and Sif Katan Lamed. The imamad lesakin amaso parta, because but if you stop to rest, then you've got a problem. If you just stop to just readjust the package, then you're parta. Dezelo mikri hanocha. That's not called a proper hanocha. Interesting. The footnote 43 talks about what if you're stopping at the traffic lights? Is that called a omed lofush or omed lo nuach? That's an interesting discussion. Okay, I think they're not sure. Lamed aleph hekera. The ovid shinu b'halichosei. You do a heka by running, because then you're doing something a bit different in your going. And by running, you'll remember that I've got to run or jog or whatever, and that will remind me that I can't stop. You sort of turn it round. That's how the Rekech says it. To kalachayad leke isur deraisa, because if you do it with the shinu, there's no isur deraisa. Or mishum hefsed chavilosa hitir ledovozeh, and because of the hefsed that would otherwise incur, Chazal allowed this. Okay, Yud Beis. Yesh oimrim the davka b'chavilosa b'chavila hitir lasis kain avlo bekisei. The above is talking about some sort of bag or bundle or something, but not your purse. V'yesh oimrim du adin lekisei, and others say no, hu adin lekisei. So let's see what that's about. Let's just do the Mishnah Berurah till there. Lamed Gimel, the dafka b'chavila, she kaveda, because that's heavy. Ve'ein derech loretz b'masa koved v'isle hakera, and therefore there is a heka. Avol b'kis shehu kal, ein heka baritza. But it's even with a little purse, running is not enough of a heka. And some say no, hu adin b'kisoi. We're talking again about a situation, says Mishnah Berurah, where there are no other ways that we've suggested previously, namely to give it to a non-Jewish person or to put it on the behema, chereshot v'koten, pachas and damas, etc. And if you want to be mekel and therefore allow you to run with your bag, with your purse, home, and be mekel on the yesh omrim, then that would be okay. Because I'm going to run b'shem hashil tekiberim d'ledidon d'lesem rishon rabim. It would certainly be okay to rely on that in an area where there's no Rosh Hashanah deraisa to run even with a purse. Okay, continuing the Ramah. Someone forgot their purse on Shabbos. So you're suddenly walking and you're carrying your purse. If you've got your purse on Shabbos, you're allowed to walk into your house and go into a secluded room where you want to leave your purse, and just to undo your belt and let it fall. V'im hu bashuk, but if you're in the marketplace, also lavila besa, you can't bring it to the house. Rak matir chager bashuk v'unofa, you can just be matir the chager, you release the belt in the shuk. V'omer en yudi l'shamar, and you ask a non-Jewish person to look after it for you. V'im aviu ein lochash, and if then afterwards the non-Jewish person brings it to your house, then don't worry about it, that's okay. But you can't instruct him to do that. What to do if it's actually stitched into your begadim. Okay, it says in the Mishnah Berurah Lamed Hey, Yochel Leilech. If you're wearing it and you can get into your house, then great. Since you're holding the muktzah item, once you can pick up a muktzah item, you can take it to the place where you want to put it. The God is machmir B'Shem HaDerech Chaim. V'im yatzir chager tekef v'yipal hamois yuchal havi l'dei hefset. If by undoing it is going to cause a hefset, he would also allow you to put it in a safe place. I'm Mogan Avram, Sifkot Yudalet, the Sifkot and Chof. Okay, Bashuk. But if you're wearing this money belt in the shuk and you want to release it there, or in a place where you haven't done shutuf mevois, so there is you can't carry it. We're talking about a place where you release it in the shuk where you're not worried that it's going to be stolen. You're worried if you're just going to abandon it in a public place, it will be stolen. Then, like we said before, you can run to your home and without stopping. For there shouldn't be an akira as we've discussed. With the condition, so long as there wasn't an akira at the beginning of the running, and again, when you dispose of it, you do it with a shinui. Okay, good. L'shamrei, you could just take off the belt in the public area and ask a non-Jewish person to look after it. Says the Mishnah Berurah Lamed Zayin, and if you're worried to rely on that, then he says you're allowed to ask this non-Jewish person to take the money bag to your home. And that's probably the best eitzah than all the various strategies we've mentioned previously, as you know, the behemoth, the Yehudi, the Cherishet V'Katan, etc., etc. Okay, let's just finish the siman. Yud Gimel. Motza Arnaki b'Shabbos. Yeah, you find a purse on Shabbos. Also litlei. You can't take it. Yeah, you find them at Tzia in the street. A lot of money or whatever it is. You can't just take it. Even though you're worried that till Motzei Shabbos comes, somebody else will take it. Too bad. The old joke that he found the £50 on the street on the thing, and he asked someone to hit him over the head, and hit him over the head, and then he picked it up because he said, "What was that about?" He goes, "Yeah, but you hit me over the head. I saw 3 stars, and then I took the money." So okay, the Mechaber doesn't mention that. Says the Mishnah Berurah Lamed Ches. Also litlei. So if you find some money in the street, you can't take it. Says the Mishnah Berurah Yud Gimel Lamed Ches. Even if you stand it, you're standing there and you put your foot on the money, whatever. You can't touch the money. Okay, standing there putting your foot on the money, maybe that's not considered really touching it. But just picking it up, you can't do that. Even Bokum say the why? Because it's not yours yet. In other words, preventing a loss is one thing, but preventing a future profit is different. And you can't even tell a non-Jewish person to take that money for you. He's actually makel and the Prima Godim brings that. Makel gam kein alidei in Yehudi, to tell a non-Jewish person, according to Prima Godim and the Rabbi Kiva would be okay. Just that he can pick it up for you, but not to actually take it to your house. And if the non-Jewish person by his own choice brings it to your house, then you don't have to, everyone agrees, you don't have to stop him. Okay, Ad Kan, this interesting scenario, and Mr. Hashem, we start talking about the tefillah of Erev Shabbos, Mr. Hashem, next time.